Welcome to seminar number 5. This is the video replay. Without continuous personal improvement, we are now all that we will ever become, and hell starts when the person you are meets the person you could have been. It's describing that feeling of regret, that you looking at yourself at the end of the fall semester and wondering what could have been if you had done a few things differently. Regret is a powerful motivator, and it's a time to use it. We only get to use it never in the moment. It's always in hindsight. It's always in after the fact. So using it today, we're going to be looking at how to reflect back on the things that we want to change or the things that we want to do differently. My agenda for today is to start with a cheesy motivational quote, sign-in sheet. Google's going to take care of that for me as soon as you guys submit your responses to the questions below. Administrative items, and then we're going to look at two little exercises, but also a quick review of what we talked about last semester. And then finally a few takeaways for you to take. Important dates, I put up here the links for dates and deadlines for admission, and then also the academic calendar. You guys would have hopefully added or dropped your classes by now. That was last Friday. The admissions and deadlines are pretty straightforward. I don't know if do we need to go there. This is, I'm not going to go there. March 1st. If you haven't applied for a faculty yet, do it in the next week or so. If you're not sure if you should be applying to which faculty, reach out and talk to them. Find out what you need. What are the requirements that you need to have a successful application? For example, competitive GPA, credits, all that sort of thing. If you're not sure if you need to apply to more than one, you can ask us and we could listen to talk about your dilemma about where you should be applying. But then also you're still going to have to meet with them just to find out their actual information. Full term GPAs, I'm definitely going to take us over here. I want us to have a quick look at, let's bring this up. I've got E-Class. If we jump into E-Class, go to cognitive strategy. If you go into cognitive strategies in here, you will find the announcements where I send them all from. Frequently asked questions. If you jump down here, if your GPA last fall was at 2.0, 2.1 or below, then you may want to just clarify your scenarios from the fall semester. What do you need this semester just to have a successful Fresh Start campaign here? So loading this up, we get to say, first of all, how do you calculate it? Hopefully we've all done that. Scenarios after the fall semester. If you have any questions, just email me. I've reached out to Open Studies, sends us all the grades from the fall semester, and so we're able to contact the students that may be in a difficult position. So we've got various scenarios, so 1.9 GPA on 24 credits, or 1.6 GPA in the full semester. Even going further down, if we see if I'm taking 3 courses per semester and 18 credits, what do I need to, what are my scenarios, what should I be looking at? And these are the scenarios with different ones. Because it's going for a 2.7, you can see that even a 2.4, you still need just this semester. If you got 2.4 in the fall, you still need a 3.0 for a successful campaign in Fresh Start. And that's where we need to start talking about spring courses. So spring courses are available for 2 reasons. Come back to the presentation. Spring courses are allowed for 2 reasons. Those 2 reasons are, 1, to help avoid the RTW, a second RTW. It's there to help boost your GPA. Heaven forbid that you're taking 4 courses in the fall and 4 in the winter. I'll come up and talk to you. If you're taking 4 and 4, then heaven forbid that you had a 2.0 in the fall semester and then something happens this semester and you end up dropping down below 2.0 and you're 1.9, you won't know those grades until May, June, after April. So you're applying to your faculty now, you won't know those grades. So I would highly recommend that you just enroll in a spring course, get into one of those spring courses so that you have it as a backup, so that if you need it, then you can take that spring course, try and get a 2.5, 2.6, whatever it may be. We can work out the number so that you can then achieve the satisfactory academic standing. You go from 1.9, you can boost above it, and you don't get an RTW. Now, that will not help you with the faculty admission. The faculty admission will only look at fall and winter. So at the end of winter, if you're 1.9, then you're not taking classes in the faculty. Okay? Great. The second reason to do it is if everything's going great and you want to take extra courses. You can take one spring course, you can take two. However, you just have to be careful that if you take them, that you work hard and you do them, because that GPA will be taken into account of your overall GPA for Fresh Start. So if you're taking 4 and 4 and you've got a 2.5 or a 2.6 or a 2.7, whatever you've got, you're doing well, you're on track, you're going to pass Fresh Start, and that's a competitive GPA, so you're going to be successful with your faculty application. But if you go in there and you get an F for a couple of days, what does that mean? That there means Fresh Start that will impact your Fresh Start grade, the overall grade. So go in there and take those ones and just earn those credits, move on, get into a faculty, and continue on your academic career. 2 reasons: 1, to avoid the RTW, and 2, to be able to take some more credits, just so that you're moving forward and completing, you'll be on track to completing for graduation. Let's get me off of here. Online application. If you haven't submitted an application, I highly recommend you do it as soon as possible. Let's go to Alberta. Online application is pretty quick. Jump up to admissions and programs. It's all online. Just submit the online application form. Application, scroll down to graduates, undergraduate studies, and then come down here to apply now. So just click apply now, and then start. Once we're here, you're going to start an application, and then you are currently enrolled, so you will say yes, and so now you just log in and you can start an application. It's 4 or 5 pages long. The people at the seminar said it takes around, if you haven't done it, it's about 10-15 minutes to complete. Depending if you don't have it, if you know all the dates of your high school and when you graduate and you have all that stuff available, then it should be pretty straightforward. Or you might want to just get those clear before you submit. Otherwise, this is going to take 10-15 minutes and $75. Now, it's a little bit different than your first year's application, because first year when you applied, you got to pick which faculty. You had choices, so you could say first choice and second choice. That's not the case when you're a transferring student and you're a current student transferring. What you need to do is submit separate applications. So if you want to have a backup faculty, then submit a second application. So you would do this twice. You'd pay $75 twice. If you're applying for specialization or honors or anything like that, you definitely have to meet with the faculty and talk about how that works, if you can, if it will even work. Obviously, a competitive GPA is necessary for one of those programs. However, there may be other requirements that you might not be meeting. So you don't want to apply ahead of time. And you may want to clarify, do I need to submit 2 applications? So one for specialization and one for general faculty admission. Or is it all on one application? Okay. That's all I had about administrative. Jumping onto those, let's go through some quick wins. I wanted to start this off a little bit more positive. You guys all set goals in Learning Check number 1 in the online course. Learning Check number 1, you set goals in these 4 categories. So let's go see what your peers said. I'm going to jump back here, jump into here. What did they say? Successes from last year. Let's have a look. I attended all my classes and only missed one. That's amazing. Well done. If that was a challenge for that student, that's excellent. Learn to be accountable for my time. Not bad. Being responsible is always going to lead to better achievement, better performance. Finally learned how to actively study in my breaks. Excellent. Making use of all those small periods of time. Limited stress by making study guides and actually sticking to them. Great. Started studying 3 weeks before, so a lot of time stuff here. Gave more time to finish assignments. I organized my work and figured out a great way to make notes. Great. Following the structure. Became an A grade. Not sure what that means. Pass courses. Yes, very important. That's going to make you a little bit more confident that you can do this. I've learned there are other ways to take notes. I branched out to start different study methods. Excellent. Trying something new is always going to feel great. Maybe not always, but if we can look at the positive side. Didn't fail anything. That's always going to be a booster. I studied a little bit every day. Great. Manage my stress. How? How did you do that? Okay, so we're getting a few wins here. Managing stress, organizing themselves. Self-management seems to be a key theme here. A lot more consistent study too, seems to be. Seems to be a way to, seems to be a common theme. Alright, let's get back. Let's pause this. Great, so this is some quick ones from your peers. It would be nice to hear what you guys had to say. However, we can't do this since it's a video recording. Okay, review. Now I don't have this on my actual PowerPoint here, so you get to see the answers. Number 1. What is the golden rule for achieving your desired goals? If you want to achieve anything, we have to be able to, we have to be able to remember this one phrase. If we can keep this in mind whenever we're doing, you're going to see why it's absolutely essential. It's absolutely essential, this, for being successful here at university. Actions of success come before the feelings of success. Actions and come before feelings every single time. We have to remember that. We can't let feelings dictate our behavior. If we do that, then sometimes we won't even take any action. If we're highly motivated, then it's really easy. We're enthusiastic about something, then it's really easy to go forward. But if we're not, and we just wait for it, and that's the reason for me to take action, we're always going to be a little bit behind. Or we may never ever take action, and that's obviously going to have an impact on our ability to improve, to perform well. So we'll remind you that very first lesson in the very first seminar and the second seminar also encourage you to use the push pause. So just take stock, notice if you're procrastinating or if you're dealing with a challenge or you're feeling frustrated. Notice those feelings of frustration. Notice that you're feeling bored. Notice that you don't want to do something. Push pause, embrace that feeling, have a look at that feeling. Okay, am I on track or am I off track? If you're off, then just pick. All you have to do is just pick one of your strategies, one of the things that you know that's important to you right then and there, and do that one thing just for a few minutes. Just get started. Just choose to do the right thing in that moment. But we have to remember to push pause. So this is just using the idea of mindfulness just to embrace, okay, this is going to be frustrating, I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be exhausted, I'm going to not want to do things, I'm going to want to procrastinate because university is overwhelming. Let's take a look at how overwhelming it is. Here's our student life cycle. September, super motivated, and then by the end of December we're pretty tired. January we get a little boost because it's a new semester and new beginnings, and we can always look back. Yes, we'll have regret, but we can always stay a little bit optimistic and think, okay, I can do it, I can turn things around, so we get a little bit more energy to get started. Classes are much easier in the first couple of weeks, so everything feels like I can do, oh yeah, I can definitely do this, and then slowly it's going to go down. So again, one of the most common student-reported challenges or problems is low motivation. And that's because your student life is demotivating. Going through and trying to learn complicated material in a very short period of time while also dealing with your normal life is hard. There's no doubt about it. Your life is you are going to have less energy and less motivation by the time your finals arrive than you do now in January. That is your life. So your problem isn't a low motivation problem. It's not a low motivation problem. That's everyone's problem. The problem is doing the right thing even though we feel low motivation. Just embrace it. You are going to be less motivated. It's going to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to happen. So now it's time to push pause and say, okay, do I still want to, can I, or do I still want to? Am I willing to do what's important for me? Are you willing to do what's important? What does that look like? That looks like going to class every day. That looks like doing your textbook readings, even though you don't feel like it. It looks like preparing for an exam, preparing twice as hard for an exam, even though you don't want to, even though this class ended up being boring or frustrating, or the professor doesn't make any sense, or they're not very helpful. Actions for feelings. If you continue to do the work even though you feel crappy, those feelings will come. They will come. You will feel more productive. You're like, oh man, I'm still getting work done. You start noticing, hey, this is the definition of self-discipline. This is the definition of being brave. You're doing things that you don't want to do, or in some cases you're doing things that you're afraid of doing. You're doing that anyway. Okay? Actions before feelings. Back to the presentation. We tried to, another way to look at this as well is, this is obviously a very, very simplified version of our psychology, of our mind in action. We start off with a certain amount of beliefs, and they're based on prior experiences and the results that we've received. That leads us to believe in ourselves, or our self-belief, or our self-efficacy, is what the self-regulated learner would say. Our self-confidence in our abilities will come from our beliefs, and that will lead to how much potential we think we have for a particular action, or in this case, your winter semester. Based on last semester's results, or even last year, your first year. Some students may still be struggling with, first year I really screwed up, I got that 1.3 to 1.6 GPA. So it means, can I really do this? So they're a little bit nervous, they're a little bit worried. So we injected the Fresh Start program in here, saying, okay, here's cognitive strategies. This is how you do things. This is why you do it this way. And we try to give you chances to practice it. You have to practice what we preach. We're telling you these ways to do it. You guys give it a go. You try, and you start getting different. You start trying over here, you start getting different results, and whether those things work for you, you'll start thinking, oh no, this doesn't work for me, or hey, this might actually work for me. So then you think, okay, well, alright, I'll give it another go. So then this starts becoming a wonderful feedback loop. It can be positive or negative. It can absolutely be positive or negative. If you reflect back on your feelings of getting that first RTW, and seeing those results and just thinking, oh man, I could have done so much better. My potential was definitely not achieved. I could have definitely improved on that. And then wondering about, sometimes you're not even sure what to do next. The actions are, I'm just gonna sulk or worry, or in some cases get depressed. Absolutely, that was a tough result to take. Then Fresh Start came along, or someone came along that can inspire you, or someone tried to lift you up, or you even took the time to really go over those results and analyze those results, and you're able to explain them a little bit better, start believing in yourself again. Your potential is there. I can start doing this. So this can be positive or negative. We think that the best place to make massive change, if you really want to see new results and massive results, the best place to start is beliefs. And that's why we call it cognitive strategies. The different thinking strategies that you use. If we can change beliefs, if you change what you're doing here about learning, about motivation, how you motivate yourself. For example, if you start believing actions before feelings, this is going to have a massive impact in how much action you're willing to take when you feel really crappy. That's a great belief to hold, as that's going to lead to massive action here. However, it's really hard to change beliefs. Your beliefs are your opinions, your commitments, your lifelong. These have been going on since you were born. Well, maybe not since you were born, but you've had a lot of experiences that you've had that have been solidified in who you think you are. So it's going to be really hard to change some of these. We try to use education. Education has been shown, obviously, to change beliefs. You'll change it through elementary school, through junior high, through high school, and even university. You'll find that you're changing beliefs all the time, and that's through this process of seeing new ideas, thinking about those new ideas and doing assignments on them, and then coming up with different results. You start arguing, you'll come to new conclusions, or you'll reaffirm the conclusions that you already have, and you'll confirm your beliefs. We started with education because that's going to have the biggest change here. You start acting in a new way. However, it's not the easiest thing to do, since they're so strong. The best place and the easiest place to start is massive action. If you jump in here and you just start taking action, strategic action, start doing the things that work for you, start using the strategies that work for you, and motivation and time management, wherever your challenges lie, start using those new strategies, then the results start coming. You start believing in yourself, your potential goes through the roof, and you start taking even more action. And this here becomes that positive feedback loop instead of a negative feedback loop. Jumping into action is the easiest place to do this. So again, actions before feelings for anything. Doesn't have to be success. It could be for happiness and love, if you're in a relationship, if it's family or friendship. Put those in there. The actions come before the feelings. Okay. I want you to, this is going to be one of your assignments, is to complete this document. This PDF is going to be emailed out to you when I sign you up for this. You're going to have to complete this task in here. So this here is, let me bring it up so that we can see it without the pictures. Just click it on here. I'll just switch these over. So this here is just one PDF that you'll be able to do. This is a basic table, and it's going to have 5 questions across the top. What are you going to stop doing? What are you going to do less? What are you going to keep doing? What are you going to do more of? And what are you going to start doing that you haven't been doing? Now it's done with each of these categories. Now this here, I want to get your commitment. I want you, bring me up here. I want you to commit to doing this every Friday. We're about to do it just for the full semester, but do this at the end of your week. If you do this Friday afternoon, if you take Friday afternoon, and you sit down and you take these 5 questions with these 4 or 5 categories. You don't have to do all of them, just the ones that are most important to you. And even just 3 questions. What are you going to stop doing? What are you going to start doing? And what are you going to keep doing? That's all you need to focus on. Those 3 things. Doing more and doing less actually makes it a little bit easier. That allows us to be more specific. But this is going to be your small reflection that says, okay, my week is going to help us. 1, we get to keep our really important goals in mind. At the moment, your biggest goal is graduation. Hopefully, maybe your biggest goal is completing the program. But even completing the program or getting into a faculty is still months away. It's really far away. So if your goal is way over here, day to day, it's hard to keep that in mind. I can't even see it. I want to bring those goals closer. So if we do a commitment of just Friday afternoon, after you've done your last class or you've done your last study session, even before you start that study session on a Friday afternoon, 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever it may be, sit down, sketch this out, and just say, okay, well, for my academics, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to start doing this. It's just a reminder to keep these, 1 is focusing on actions, good habits and bad habits, on track, off track, and 2, it's going to keep these goals in mind. Very, very specific day-to-day goals that I can keep doing. Let's get back to the form here. We're going to have a look to see what some of your peers said. So we've got in here, we've got academic goals. Let me take that off. Academic goals. For example, I've been doing this with a bunch of students. Some of the things that they said. This here refers to GPA and learning. So if you want to master material, for my GPA, I'm going to stop. One of the funnier ones was clubbing. Someone said they were going out too much still. So clubbing could be something you want to stop. So if it's socializing, you don't have to stop it completely. That's why do less is good. If you want to go clubbing, you can go clubbing. If it's every single night, obviously that's not helpful. But if it's once a month or once every 2 weeks or something that you can manage, then do it. If you have the funds, if you have the time, then include it. But obviously moderation. Stop doing, the most common one here seemed to be wasting time or procrastination. Do less. I would ask you to be specific then. If you say procrastination, that's also, I ended up making a category down here. If you say procrastination, then be specific about what you procrastinate with. So do less social media time, or do less time on Netflix. That kind of idea. Keep doing. So this here is a strength. What are you going to keep doing that's working really well for your academics? Most common one here was, oh, actually, let's have a look. I think I've got a couple that we can pull up. So let's have a look to see what your peers said about that. Academic goals. What do they need to stop doing? Okay, let's go have a look. What did they say? Oh, that's the wrong button. Let's go to it. They said they're going to stop skipping classes, was ranked at 22. Lots of votes there. The fucking smartphone. Okay, there's a lot of people agreed with that. Stop being on their phone. I'm guessing that's what that means. Staying up too late. Never going to class. So sleep, procrastinating. Stop missing lectures, skipping classes. Stop pushing my homework to the last minute. So a lot of procrastination in there. Ignoring their GPA. Stop. Yeah, there's a few people that are a little bit scared to even look back on the full semester GPA. Skipping classes, staying up too late. So getting back to sleep. Excellent. Okay, let's see what they're going to. So here, this is keep doing. So this is a positive. This is something that is a strength. Daily review of classes. They're going to keep exercising, actually paying attention in class, or going and listening, spending more time at school, actually sleeping, doing my assignments on a regular schedule, studying in advance, exercise again. So those are the things that they're going to keep doing. Exercise actually fits in one of our categories. Exercise is going to fit in the fundamentals categories. We'll see in a second. And lastly, what are you going to start doing that you weren't doing last time that has a big impact on your academics? So in this case, readings, work on my assignments early, being more positive, utilizing office hours, asking professors for tips, wake up early to eat breakfast. There's a few votes for that. Compiling notes instead of letting them pile up, do assignments before they're due, eating healthy. Excellent. So these are examples of some of the things that students are feeling, just the big things that are going to have a positive impact on their academics. That will stop doing, keep doing, and start doing. Time management, you'll be able to find that you can slip in a bunch of things in here. Fundamentals would be sleep, eating, exercise, anything for mental and physical health. Stop doing. Going to bed late was a common one that we saw. Do less of is junk food, buying their meals. So keep doing was, some people were, meal prep came up a little bit, but meal prep seemed to be over here. Preparing meals or preparing lunches or preparing snacks was something that people wanted to do more of or start doing. A few people did put it down here. Start going to bed early was another one. So whatever you put over here, stop doing. Going to bed late can be the thing you want to start doing. So it gives you, as soon as you see that's the thing I don't want to do, my off-track behaviors, we can start using the start column to introduce the new behavior, the new habit that you want to do. And now looking back on the fall semester, we can bring this into the winter semester, and we can start saying, okay, every Friday, this is keeping in mind my most pertinent goals. And this here sets up that process, all the good things that we need to be doing and focusing on so that we get to our long-term goals. Your long-term goals are anything on your monthly calendar, those are medium term, and then eventually graduation, or even then finishing fresh start, getting into a faculty, and then graduation. So using this as a way to identify, am I on track or off track, and this will keep it present of mind. If it's front of mind, then we're able to do something about it every single time. So this is a great little activity. It takes 5-10 minutes to get done every Friday afternoon. One other way to figure out if you're on track or off track is to take a look at your, this is called the miracle question, and it just asks us to imagine that tonight as you sleep, a miracle occurs in your life, whatever it may be. If it was a genie, an act of God, a fairy, whatever it is you believe in, a magical, momentous happening that has completely solved your problem. So if it's low motivation or procrastination, and it's rippled out into other areas of your life. So imagine you wake up tomorrow and you do not procrastinate ever again. Never. You're not addicted to your cell phone, you never procrastinate, you never go on Netflix unless you want to and it's for a short period of time. You do not procrastinate ever again, and you have all the motivation in the world. What are you doing? Write it down. How is your life going to be different from now? If you want to take the time to do this exercise, you start describing the ideal version. What are the things that you're doing? Some people end up doing this and they're saying, I'm texting my friends that I haven't talked to in a while. I'm doing my readings at this period of time of the day, and before this class I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. They're talking about all the things that they would be doing. Again, actions before feelings. It ends up showing us, you guys already know a lot of what to be doing. Now it's just time to do it. So my takeaway, I have 3 different ways of saying the same thing. Starts off with Marcus Aurelius, a favorite of mine. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. In this case, a student. What a good student should be. To be one. Russ Harris, an active psychologist. We get a lot of tools from the ACT library. Don't obsess about the outcomes. Get passionate about the process. So all of those things that are on track, anything that's in that keep doing, do more of, and start doing, and you think in those columns, start getting passionate about those things. Focus on doing those things day in and day out, and limiting the ones in the other 2 columns. Get passionate about that. And finally, Grant Cardone, favorite entrepreneur of mine, does not mess about, this guy. Take that one as being take responsibility. Take full control of all of your actions. These are your choices. Don't be a slave to those first two columns anymore. In this case here, he's referring to being a whiner. So don't be a little whiner. In this case here. Awesome, guys. Make sure you answer the questions below. Submit those. And also email back the PDF of a completed. Just take a picture of your full reflection. So all columns completed, all rows completed. Thank you very much, and I will adjust the marks. Thanks a lot.